Hi everyone. Thanks a lot for joining today. I'm Tiberio. I'm the founder of Make It Future, and this webinar is part of our series of building self-evolving agentic solutions. We're going to focus a bit today on marketing, but before focusing on marketing, I was watching the other day um, one video from Y Combinator in the US, and it intrigued me a bit, and I'm gonna try to add some slides from that and or get some inspiration from there and share that with you. The what we're seeing now with startups and what is really happening in the startup space, and I think is going to be in some ways taken as well by mid market and as well by enterprise, is how do we look at AI first companies, or how do we look at companies designed around AI rather than applying AI on companies. So okay, so as I said, I'm Tiberiu. I'm the co-founder of Make It Future. I'm from Romania, with let's say around 10 years experience in enterprise and in startups. Um, and I'm part of Make It Future. We are the largest make partner in Europe. We are 20 people on the development side, 30 people company, and really supporting companies with a wide variations of solutions, AI agentic solutions for building integrations and building agentic processes. So in the way the companies are built today, right? And most of the companies are still like that, right? You have a very tired hierarchy. There's a CEO, there's a middle management, and there's a lot of different contributors. And of course, depending on how big that organization is, the bigger that middle management is. What we're seeing is that the more we apply AI, that's kind of uh, where that bottleneck goes away. And if we look at how this starts to evolve now, and how builders start to happen, or building of AI starts to happen in companies, we're seeing that actually there's going to be less and less need around that middle management. There's going to be a need for C-level or decision makers in the companies, but it will start to look more decision makers being builders and individual contributors, and then working with the high suite of AI directly. A lot of AI agents doing that. So let me go a bit in details and try to explain that. When we're looking at what these AI companies start to do and how AI acts in these agentic companies, we are not looking at adding a bit of AI or adding a bit of process on top of like an existing process. It's more about how do we add the AI? How do we allow the AI to act on all the data inside the process? How do we allow the AI to um, respond and rewrite itself for that process? Okay. Um, Also very interesting is that the way it seems that right now the market is looking at these new companies is not based on how fast they run or how fast they grow by headcount. They're inside these companies, they start to look at how much token usage this company do. Let's call the more token a company might use, the more token an employee might use, the more productive hypothetically that could be. Okay, don't put like, I would not advise putting any kind of like I don't know, tracking inside a company to just and I don't know, keep bonuses in company stuff like based on token, because that will be played. People will just run AI in the back for the sake of running it, but it can give a clear indication on some builders that use AI or doesn't use AI, and as a company, are you using a lot AI or not? The the way this really the most important part around having a company that's self-improving is creating a way for the AI to have access to data, right? So have some sensors, and these sensors are emails, could be tickets, could be SEO data, we were talking today about marketing, right? So it could be search engine optimization reports, it could be um, Google Analytics reporting, whichever, right? Then this data goes through our company policies, tools, and quality check. And then based on that, the AI needs to learn and readapt and then start sensing again, right? To give a very simple example here, you have again data from SEO or from geo. Based on that, you can apply, go and check, okay, what are the ways of writing web pages, articles, what are the ways of building content, what are the quality checks, branding, and so on for that, readapting those uh, to have a better results from a SEO perspective or geo perspective, and then readapt it, automatically apply the fixes, maybe with a guardrail or somebody with a human in the loop to approve it, and then post it automatically to the website, right? So if you look uh, at data that might not go well, that's also where the quality starts really to, or the agentify of the process really starts to be very important. The moment that an AI can start improving by itself, right? Especially when it fails, right? You might have a, let's call it a support ticketing system. You might have a question that the AI is not able, or the agent that is deployed there is not able to answer. If you have another AI that's checking that support quality agent and start looking at the data inside the company to try to spot, okay, what was really missing? How can we improve that process? How can it automatically improve the customer support or the review agent process, create that fix, and then review it by another AI or review it by a human, and then deploy the next day, right? And if you're able to do that, that really starts improving it by itself and starts creating these overnight fixes of your processes, which will allow the company to really evolve by itself. What is really, really important for this kind of let's call it AI agentic companies is that the data needs to be connected, or the data needs to be legible to the AI, right? What is not legible does not exist from an AI perspective, right? So having a company that's really connected towards all the data that really happens can make the AI really, or the agents really know to take a decision. And I'll give you an example to this, right? We've been starting using inside Make It Future these kind of meeting recordings for some time now. Maybe a year and a half when we started using things like Fireflies and more recently Meet Geek and some other solutions, right? Every meeting is recorded, and that really means every time we take a decision, we discuss about the project, we discuss about on a management meeting about something, it will go inside that recording. A few days back, I decided to take all those meetings, parse all those meetings with AI, and extract from it what are the decision we took, what are the different problems we took, what is the way the company is evolving, what are the different skills that people talk about, what are the different things, and by processing all the data, we are able now to find new use cases for marketing. We are able to find new use cases for improving the internal processes. We are able to find who has been working on certain projects and so on. And it's really happening the same for the way we're building marketing content. And I'll come back to this a bit later. But as an automation company, we've been doing a lot of projects within like Make and or N8N or some other integration platforms. Now, because we have that data, we have those processes, we're able to export those processes, feed the processes inside an agent, and just tell it, okay, can you go over this data and just tell, okay, tell me what this process is doing. Tell me what is the value proposition that we're having here on this process. And by doing that, we're able to create a article, a use case that then we can publish on our website with more detail than we ever could. Because before that, Alexandra had to go to our developers or PM, had to ask them, okay, how was that project? What were the details? What did you do there? And all these kind of things. And it got some feedback, and then it needed to write that article. But now, because we're starting with the data first, and we're looking at the meetings as well from that project, we can get a lot of the details up front. AI starts building that article, then Alexandra can review that article, and we can then post a much clearer, a lot more detailed article towards our website. Also, maybe very important, what we're seeing, it's also that software becomes less relevant. The context from that software starts to be more and more important. The context and the data that you have inside these platforms can be very, very easily visualized into taking. On one side, you can very, very fast generate dashboards. Okay, if you have any kind of data, any kind of context inside these platforms connected, go to an AI, ask Claude Code, hey, generate me a dashboard for like my website performance for the last 1 month, and it will just generate it because it's connected. But the context and the way you use the agent and all that's really what becomes more and more relevant. So now to switch more a bit back to like the topic of today, more towards marketing, right? So if we have a company that's really built from an agentic perspective, and we're looking at how can we apply AI towards marketing, we need to look at every layer, right? So if we take generically, okay, what marketing is, and by this top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel way of looking at marketing, right? We look at, okay, where can we influence from a marketing perspective, and how can AI really help us generate different things? Where can we apply into this space marketing, AI agentic processes? And from my perspective, every stage of this marketing process, there is a need, there is a value where you can apply this agentic AI. So on the top of the funnel perspective, anything related to content generation and optimization can be done there. And I'll show you. I'll go over an example of our website and show you, okay, how can you really do that and run a script for the SEO optimization. Then any kind of landing pages, right? Case studies. Like I just give you the example. Finding where the data sits for your company. Finding, is it inside meeting recordings? Is it inside documents, projects, things that you deliver towards your customer, and finding those from there? Is it around products, product reviews? Is it coming from Google reviews? Find a way to connect the data towards the AI agent that's supposed to identify those, and then based on that, it will be able to create the content more relevant, have your responsible person review it and post it. And last but not least, outbound and research, proposals, all that we've showcased in the previous webinars, more around proposal and quotes. So please go and check those videos if you're interested in that. But from an outbound or outreach perspective, I think AI can also be very relevant. So very similar to how we're looking from a company perspective, we're looking at marketing as well, right? The most important part is, okay, being able to check the data sense, being able to act on the data, learn on it, and regenerate, right? So if we're able to do that, the improvements that we can do over our SEO, geo articles, and all that, it's immense. I'm gonna maybe, I think in order to give you maybe a bit of feeling of how do we really do this, okay? Can we do this just by simple AI or not? Not really, right? So we have, and you've seen this on my previous slides, we have these 3 levels of different AI implementation in different businesses, right? You have the level 1, like very fast generation, like prompting. You have these more advanced models, which were launched maybe like 6-9 months ago with reasoning, where it spends more tokens, it spends more time to really uh, write down the thoughts or the tokens and then analyze it, and you get a much better response. And then the best results that we get is with the agentic hierarchies, where we have a complicated architecture, but at the same time we have a much better result with a much smaller human intervention needed on that. So I'm explaining that because, okay, in order to really have a system that learns, have a system that's able to automatically fix itself, we need to use systems that are able to really resonate and also improve itself, right? So we're looking here at agentic systems, and also the way we can improve the processes, or the way we can uh, really teach those systems what to do is writing these skills. Okay, we presented this in more details in the previous sessions, but the skill itself is the way to, like, okay, how do I get an AI, in example Cloud Code, to really do the process I need? Very similar to like a food recipe, or to SNOP, to a process. You go over, like, you have your standard operating procedures, you take the details, make sure that's very complete, and you give it to Claude or to an AI. The benefits of doing this with an AI is that you can also have the AI improve it as it runs over it. The more example it has and the more data you can connect to it, it will improve it. And that's where the sense and the policies and the way this loop is connected together makes more and more and more sense. The better the data, the more processes it runs, the better it will end up rewriting that process and having a better process. Let me jump back. Yeah, I covered that. Okay, so also take a look at how applications can be self-improved, and that's part of the previous webinar. By using these specialized harnessing systems and skills inside applications, you can really build applications like quotation tools or content writing tools that will self-improve. And I'm not going to go more on this. Please watch the previous webinar if you're interested. Okay, back to a bit more from a marketing perspective. What I'm seeing personally, and what we're doing also at Make It Future with our marketing department, is having everything connected. What that really means, the website needs to be able to be connected to the AI, right? Your website the AI needs to have access inside your website to be able to write content, analyze content, extract content, and really do everything that needs to be done on that website. We used to host our website on Webflow, we decided recently we're putting that back into like a coded website with by AI that's gonna be on Vercel hosted with Cloudflare and everything, because we want, every time we have a new idea, every time we have a new use case, every time we have a new page that we want to launch, we want to be able to just tell, okay, the AI analyze that content, AI is generating the content and publishing that web page, and then somebody goes check and make it live. But we want that to be very, very easy and fast. Very similar, or also very important, everything related to analytics, again connected back to the website, right? So we want to make sure that the analytics of Google Analytics, everything related to SEO, all the tools related to like SEO analysis, like being able to connect Ahref or DataForSEO or whichever provider you have for this analytics is connected to the AI, so it's able to do the reporting for it. Also very important. So connecting the data. If you're using ads as well, I advise everybody to use the CRM for collecting all the leads. So having those, again, connected to the website, from the website to the CRM automatically, but also the AI can be somewhere analyzing that and analyzing the path, source, and adapting the website based on that. Very important. And last but not least, social and emails. So being able to publish when needed online based on the use case and based on the things that were already created, or creating outreach sequences as well important. So a bit more details here. Agent that read your site can also and also change it. Being able to do that, I think it's going to be a key differentiator going forward. Being able to really have this content analyzed and improved ongoingly, so you make sure you really show up whenever somebody is searching for you on Google or searching for you on ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or whichever AI, showing automatically there. Very, very important. SEO and Joe as well. I think we kind of covered that. And then I'll show you a use case on outreach. How do we really see that? Okay, look at what we're closing, what are the lookalike companies, how can we enrich those contacts, draft emails, LinkedIn sequences, and then review and send, right? And the way you can build that today with something like a Hermes agent or with even a Make agent or whatever cloud agent, doesn't really matter the technology that we use to build that, but being able to have an agent that it's connected within the process and then do it automatically and find new things and do this outreach, I think that's what's really changing. So instead of having, let's say, different disconnected systems inside your marketing department, inside your sales department, you need to have like one company really connected towards that those different agents. I think okay, I've talked a lot on these slides. Let's go a bit to demo. And let me show you a few things that you can do with few agents. I don't know, were there any questions on the chat so far? Feel free to send any of your questions on the chat, if any. So there is a question from, I'm not sure, I don't see the name here, unfortunately, but it's asking me if there's a way for creating a brand skill so the cloud output looks less AI generated and more on brand. And I think yes. So there are a few skills I've seen out there. On one side, you really need to test it. So I've been testing this presentation here, which is not really, I would not say it's 100% on our brand, but we're getting there. I've been testing few skills to try to get this branding for Make It Future. First, you need to use a scraper. You can use directly Claude to scrape your website and your brand guideline and all that if you want. But you also can use Firecrawler. Then Firecrawler will go get the different details from your website, like colors, the way it looks, and things like that. That's kind of the best you have, because if the website will be your point of reference. If you have some documents, you can also go over those documents. I can share the skills that we have, Alexandra. If you let's not forget to share it in the newsletter when we send it, the brand skill and the details of how that scraper should work. And then with that, it will write your own brand skill. Maybe a good example, it's also building these presentations. Okay, so I used to do everything inside Google Sheets for us at Make It Future, and I've seen more and more this kind of HTML presentation showing up, in YouTube videos and so on, and I was looking at, okay, why do I struggle to build this inside Google Sheet when I can just use a website to have that presentation? And we had a meeting, we had a conference last week in UK where we presented together with Make on a similar topic. And we also wanted to present, okay, how do we really do projects at Make It Future? And we didn't have a presentation for that, but we've been discussing about that on several meetings internally. So I went back to my agent. I said, okay, can you check all the meetings where we discussed this concept of creating big, running on creating projects on a step-by-step sprint mode rather than having big enterprise projects where you spend years to really see a result and all that. And I got something very fast, and I'll show you what we got. Okay, so this was the first iteration of that presentation without me telling you too much about branding, about how it should look like. It generated automatically all the slides, all the pictures, everything that you see here, and everything based. I'm not going to go right now on it, but I'm just showing you how it looks like. It generates this in a few minutes with a skill. Happy to, let's add that skill as well to the email. Where because it's code and it's HTML, the AI can really do that very fast. And then because I said, okay, let's take the same skills and let's take the branding and improve, how it really looks. I want my own fonts, I want my own colors, I want the way I build a presentation to look like, and so on. And I got this done for today. So from a marketing perspective, creating these kind of documents as well, creating any kind of like PDFs, any kind of presentations, collateral, having those skills already inside, it really makes a big difference. There's this second question, if I use any kind of UI Pro design from Anthropic. No, I did not use the UI Pro design. By the way, I used some of the principles from one YouTuber, Jack Roberts, and I also used, the way I did this, maybe let's make this a bit more, let me show you how I did this. Let me take out of this screen. The way I like to do things, because there's no one skill that is the best, okay? So I generally use SkillsAmp for searching for skills, or I just use Claude or whichever to go search for stuff. Then I came here, I said, okay, I want to build a presentation. So I start searching for presentation. Then I downloaded a few of these skills from here. I was looking at presentation HTML. So I found this few of these. I don't remember exactly which one I downloaded, but generally I look at the ones that have more. As you can see here, there's not a lot of it for this kind of search. Okay, so this was one, slide deck, and so on. I also search on Claude with it, and I found few skills like that. Then I'm using, in this case, I'm using Visual Studio Code. So I built a folder where I put all these skills. Okay, so I have all these skills together. I have here some old skills, front end, HTML. So I used all these skills to build a presentation. I created a presentation and I asked Claude to generate me 4 different presentations because I wanted to compare, right? And from my perspective, the easiest way to really see if something's working correctly or not is really comparing it, right? So let me close this. Let me close this as well. This, right? So if I go here to this presentation that I built at that time, so I had this ROI first concept. So I have these 4 different presentations with the different skills that I used at that time, and I can go and really see, okay, how does this look like? right? And that was one as an example. And you can go over it, and it has some problems. I didn't really like it, so I said, not this one. Then this is another one. Sorry. Not the same. So that's the other one, which I like in a way, but I didn't like exactly what they did here. But again, it's just using whichever the skill was there to use, right? So the value of what I'm trying to say here is like, get the skills that you might need, find a lot of them, find 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 skills, whichever, and then just tell Claude or Codex to run the same work on the multiple skills, and then you can compare. And sometimes you might like things coming from multiple sites, right? And then you can start, hey, do this thing, but also combine it with this other thing, because whatever. And then you create your own skill. And then based on these skills and based on the examples and feedback, I created my own skill for Make It Future presentation generator, where I have now the skill. It has the different references. It has the different things that I found from some other skills, the principles, the template, the components, right? And then with that, it will know every time I want to build a presentation, I will just use this to build a presentation. This answers your question around building the presentations. And we do the same, I would say, every time I like, if I need to create content, we try different ones. I want to process files, I try different ones. I want to, I don't know, always try multiple ones. And then based on the learnings of the AI, create the skill, right? And if I also go back here to Claude, maybe to show you my process, right? I had these different things discussion here, but somewhere, right? I did some presentations, and at some point I told Claude, hey, build me my skill. So now I have here, yeah, actually it's here, right? Use skill creator, create a new skill, call it Make It Future, and use everything we learn, copy all the information from the other skills. I will remove the other skills after, right? So I wanted to create a self-containing skills. It did all that, created all that. I tested it. I run it on a new presentation. I will give it more feedback. And now every time I use it, I will say, hey, update the skill, right? So I give it maybe some reference here, update the skill with the latest headers and issues we found. So now it will put the latest update inside Claude. Okay, now to move in a bit more on the other direction, I found very interesting another skill I installed inside Claude. It's called where is it? Customize. It's called this messaging positioning architect, where it can help you really go over, okay, how do you position in the market? How do you position the company? How do you position the website and so on? So that's one, right? So if you're running this skill, marketing, positioning, architect, let's do this for Blue Coffee as an example. So if I'm starting to do this now, right, for Blue Coffee, and I'm starting to generate data, and I'm starting to analyze the data, and I'm going to start maybe changing the way I position Blue Coffee towards different ICPs, right? I want what inputs do I have? I have nothing, right? So I will say www Blue Coffee. I have nothing else. It's nice to do this research here and have some answers and then give it to your team. It's 100 times better if you can just tell the AI to modify that website automatically, right? And as this is running on Shopify, that's a bit harder, right? I think now Shopify supports like custom code, so I could somehow probably connect it, and that's maybe something that we need to look at. How do we really do that? But having that connection directly between the agent and being able to go analyze and improve the website, it's really, really important for whatever you're doing in the future with these agents on top of your company assets. Until this runs, let me show you something else. Home. Okay, so this, for example, is our self-evolving app website, right? Actually, I'll start a new conversation. I'm using here ShipStudio. By the way, if somebody doesn't know what I'm using it's an app created for like, it's a bit like a vibe coding application for creating websites. There's few some information online about this in case you're wondering. Hide. Actually clear, I don't care. Okay, so can you analyze the homepage of this website from a SEO and geo perspective? So again, being able to access the code, being able to do this directly, it will really help the AI be able to take a decision, right? And help you really improve that very, very fast. Compacting. Any other question while I wait here for this? Okay, so there's a question from Tom. Is it harder to do that on a WordPress site? Yeah, it will be a lot from my perspective. From my perspective, it will be a lot harder because WordPress has its own type of CMS, right? It has its own templates, it has its own stuff, right? So once you're starting, you want to build like a new page that looks totally different than your template, it will not really work as simple, right? It will start, you could use to create a very custom page on top in your WordPress, but then that page, it will not be accessible to your CMS as easily, right? And you're kind of blocked in the paradigm of that uh, WordPress. While if this is really coded by AI, you go, you check it, you need a CMS, you include that CMS through something like a headless CMS like Sanity, and it will just do it. You can modify the WordPress, you can let an AI modify WordPress, but it might broke some stuff to it. It should know WordPress very well, to be honest, because there's a lot of WordPress out there. But in my personal opinion, I'm not looking forward to open any WordPress website and go do some stuff inside of it. Going forward, I think that's going to be done 100% by a prompt towards an AI agent, go do something. Right, so then if I run this on the website, because it has the text, it has, okay, it will identify some stuff, right? The better you can do this analysis, right? And here it's somewhere that we need to look at, okay, what skills do we have for this, for SEO? And there is a list of skills you can find online for SEO, which are very good. Also, connecting the data from things like DataForSEO. Not even sure if I have it here, but generally I have an MCP. We use an MCP for MCP. Let's see, Claude yeah, so I have DataForSEO. So now I can also say, hey, use DataForSEO to do also an analysis for this. By the way, this is hosted on, let me copy the website, self-evolving.app. So having the right tools for the AI to be able to really look at okay, how can it analyze the data is very, very important, right? So having this, I really recommend DataForSEO. It's very good from a SEO perspective, cheap to use. You can just run it by API. You can just load like $10 into it, and it doesn't require like a monthly subscription or anything. It's just like specially built for API usage, and you can get very similar data that you get in things like Ahref or other similar tools. Okay, one of the other questions that were sent to us before the event was how do we do um, lead qualification? How do we do lead scoring, AI research on things like that, event research? So I go back to my plot code until this will run the MCPs. So here you're seeing here I have a marketing folder. So this skill has multiple skills related to, okay, how do we process? Okay, we do content and image and presentations and branding and so on. But these are really related to us to make it feature. But in terms of like, if you look at the events, okay, we have few events here. And then for these events, we're looking, okay, how do we get the details from platforms like, for example, we use Luma, right? But Luma, if you want to connect by API, you need to pay for a subscription to Luma. If you just tell Claude, go to my Luma account and download the list of events participants, it will just go and get that for you, right? And then from that, I will not open it because, okay, there might be some GDPR compliance here, but by doing that, I automatically get the list inside the folder, so I don't need to go manually and take it. I could also schedule an AI to go to that page and download it every week, every hour, whatever. And I'm getting the list inside directly. Then the way we do then the messaging and the enrichment of that, we're connecting directly to Apollo. So we have a skill that's saying, Claude, hey, take this list of our subscribers, go to a tool like Apollo or go online, right? And then from that, research every person, tell me what is their company, what is the size of their company, what are the number of employees, what is the revenue, and so on. And then based on these ICPs, we decide, okay, what are the different processes, what are the ones that we need to prioritize, and then we start doing that LinkedIn outreach, or we start doing the email outreach based on that research. And in order maybe to make that a bit really, I don't know, here on the chat, can I have somebody on the chat here? To do a demo on that, I would need some context that I don't want to take some of the context from our list because that might not be compliant. But generally, just tell Claude step by step what you want to do with it. Okay, so I want to do outreach towards make it future and can you identify who are the stakeholders and who might be the best person to sell an, I don't know, sell marketing services for optimization, content, placement, etc. to them, right? As simple as that, right? If you use that, and I use Make It Future because, okay, we're here and it will not showcase anything. It will go and find those persons. It will probably find me somewhere, maybe my co-founder Petro, and it will find who are the different persons working in Make It Future without any API most of the time. If you improve that by giving it access to Apollo, it will go and find that. And by the way, I'm running this here in Cloud Code. You can run it directly in Claude, Cowork, or Code. That's your preference, or inside Codex. Doesn't really matter where. It was just here, and that's why I ran it here. Doesn't really matter too much. The same. What's really important then, you will say, okay, create a message. makeitfuture.com, but I do not want the contact email. Find me the relevant persons. Okay, and sometimes that might not be public information. So then having something like Apollo MCP, I don't know if you guys are, or Clay might be also good. If you have Apollo or not. Apollo will give you very good information from that perspective. So if I go I'll get the API key from here, because I don't think I have it connected here. By the way, maybe interesting for some of you on the way we work. You can see here I'm connected over SSH to a playground. We have like a common server in Make It Future where we can all collaborate on the same environment for some specific things, where we share things, like in this case, the marketing stuff. So we just put this relatively earlier, right? And it's a way for us to share some of the things that we work together on. Okay, create a messaging for me to send to each. I will then send it by email. And the most important part about doing this is like create a skill, so we can apply it to the next company. And by doing this process, the more details you give it with, the better it will apply to that process. A bit to go over this initial introduction I did. We're looking at, okay, how can we now apply this secondary AI on top of managing the other AIs, right? So we have one AI that's able to go and check what is the work of the other sub-agents that it spins inside the company. The more connected the data is, the more we can see and the more we can really adapt the company towards that. Let's go back to ShipStudio. Okay, so here, if we look at what really happened, we have a wide report. Of all the different things that it figure out. I'm I'm working here on main. So maybe, so very important if you don't work directly on main branch. So create a secondary branch. This is not connected to my repo right now. I don't know why, but okay. So recommendations. So based on this, it created me a plan. I will not execute the plan right now, but that's the idea, right? Here, because I'm not connected to the right repo here. But the idea is being connected and execute. You're doing an analysis, execute on that analysis. Create an ongoing scheduled task. Do a check every week on every page. Do a check from the different APIs that are existing. Implement the change automatically. Review it, implement it. What branch are we? Create a new branch for testing and implement it. Right? And then we get a new branch, and then we can see the result. We're checking it, happy with it, publish. Okay, so we are on update SEO branch. All good. So from my perspective, the simplicity of implementing this directly, having the agent being able to do it directly, that's kind of the future of marketing. Being able to just go on a WordPress site and do those fixes, or connecting the AI to that, it's a bit more difficult, and it creates a gap. Are there any other questions? Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show you is the way you generate this kind of data. Okay, so here there is a folder. It's in my Google Drive. It doesn't really matter too much, but practically I'm synchronizing. Sorry for the notification. I'm synchronizing all the meetings we have from MeetGeek towards our Google Drive, right? What that really means, I'm getting all the details, highlights, the video, the transcript, and everything related to each meeting. The data as it is not as important, or it's very hard to use like that. I have hundreds or thousands of meetings here, right? So if I say an AI go search for something, it might find it. But that will not help you take decisions on that data. The way you can, or you need to look at that is, okay, how can you restructure that, free process that with AI to be able to take after that some decisions on it, right? And if you look at this is how the data looks raw. Then I have an AI that's processing that data, and that data is now structured into different things. Okay, clients, actions, decision, ideas, meetings, whatever. So it's restructuring that based on different categories that I defined. And this, for example, this is an application. It's called Obsidian, where it's showing me a graph of how all that data is connected together. Okay, and I can go down and look at, okay, what are the different things that are connected between the different meetings, and it's creating me here a very, very big graph. But to give you an idea, I have here the ideas part and I have marketing. And inside the marketing, it extracted from all the different meetings the last, whatever, 1 year, what are all the different things that we could create something for, right? So now if I want to go and I can try and go and say, okay, let's prioritize this. Let's see what was already created. Let's create a task list. Based on this, then let's have some AI generating these ideas. It will start putting that. And it's also connected to the meeting where it can go and see the additional details from that. Okay, so this is kind of the first iteration of building all those ideas. But you can imagine, okay, once this is cleared and then you have an ongoing process of doing that, it will give you few ideas every week, few ideas every month on, okay, what was discussed on the different sales call, different internal call, different team calls, and what are the different ideas that were discussed and could be implemented as an article, as a product, as a feature, as an improvement, and so on. Okay. Any other questions before I think we've kind of go over 2 minutes over the session. I have here the improvement that we did over the SEO. I hope this was helpful. Maybe it was me going left and right a lot. Apologies for that. I hope this was helpful. And please, yes, use the link from Alexander to give us feedback and also to tell us what else would you like to, or how would you like us to change these kind of presentations later. Okay, so I can open the new version, in a browser if I want, which is running now on my local computer. I can see if there's any kind of mistakes, verify it, maybe ask an AI to compare it versus previous version, and then deploy it. But I would expect most of the changes here is more on the metadata side rather than really on the way it looks. Maybe improve some stuff, and then with that I have implemented the different recommendations that I got from Claude for this use case. Okay, Roddy, thanks a lot for your time. See you on one of our next presentations.